Hi, I'm Shalinee Kulshreshtha. I am the General Counsel for Dentsu's business in South Asia.
Okay, Shalini, hi, I'm Monica. I'm Monica Behra. I'm the editor with etlegal.com. I have few questions. So I just wanted to know, Shalini, you can begin with your journey as a lawyer. How did you start your career and how did you reach here? You can take us through the entire journey. Please
Sure,
talk about it. Yeah.
sure, thank you. So I started my career in 2002. That's when I graduated from law. And then I started my journey as a practicing lawyer with one advocate on record in the Supreme Court of India. Practiced with him for some time in Delhi courts. I used to appear in different courts in Delhi, and that gave me a very good exposure on litigation. From there, I moved to a law firm, MV Kinney and Company, which was a full service law firm that gave me exposure of different areas of law. And I started to interact with the GCs of other companies. So it's quite interesting that till then I had no clue about that there is something like an in-house lawyer role. And only after interacting with the GCs of other companies, I realized that, that's also another area that the law graduates can explore. So that's when I decided that I would like to explore this. I started my career as a corporate lawyer working for a company with the name DuPont for the first time. And then I worked with organizations like Avaya, PwC, Honeywell, Pearson, and now here I am at Dentsu. Never felt like going back because it had been such an amazing journey working with different corporates. And I think the work and the practice of area when it comes to a corporate lawyer is so wide, so diversified that it makes it so interesting for a corporate lawyer.
So you're the, General Counsel for South Asia for Dentsu. So you have a wide, you cater to laws of so many countries in South Asia. So could you tell us, um, how do you work through it, with the laws of different countries of these,
Sure.
yeah.
So I think South Asia as a cluster had been in my portfolio for quite some time. It has been almost a decade now. And this has really helped me upscale myself on my knowledge of the laws in South Asia. But at the same time, I would say I quite like reading, as and when there are problems, obviously you read about it. So that has also helped me, which is what we call as like on-job training, upscale myself on the applicable laws in South Asia. But of course, there are always niche areas. I'm a qualified Indian lawyer. I'm not a lawyer qualified in any of these other markets. So as and when there is a niche requirement, then we work with external firms based out of those countries, align with them on our strategy, and that's how we support our business in those countries.
So Shalini, could you just elaborate on which Asian countries that you're working on? Name of the countries, that would
Yeah,
be great.
so it includes Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Pakistan, Maldives, Sri Lanka. So all these markets are there. When it comes to Dentsu, we have our legal entities based out of India and Sri Lanka. So when it comes to India and Sri Lanka as a market, we are providing services through our legal entities in those markets. But for rest of the markets, we provide services through our affiliates.
Affiliates, you would mean the law firms?
No, so there are other companies who are our affiliates in those markets. So
Okay,
we
okay.
provide services through those companies in
Okay,
those
okay,
markets. Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. So, could you, take us deep into the your in-house role as a GC, roles and responsibilities and the functions?
Sure. So I think GC's role, I believe, and I have experienced it myself, is like very, very interesting. So there are so many areas of law that a GC has to cover, starting from employment law. So if you have any questions, around your employees in terms of the policy, in terms of the way how you provide support to your employees, etc., we partner with the HR team of our company on the employment law aspect of it. Then comes the litigation management. So if there is any litigation that we initiate against a partner or a party, or we are made party to a litigation, then that's something for the GCs to look after. Then comes contract management, which is one of the very important areas of law that a GC handles. There are so many kinds of contracts that we have to have as an organization, be it with our clients, vendors, channel partners, distributors. And as a company, we have to make sure that we have a robust contract in place. So that's another aspect that is handled by a GC. Then comes areas, the new areas of law like data privacy and competition law. That's also something that a GC is responsible for. Mergers and acquisitions is another thing that comes to my mind. And then comes the statutory compliance and the ethics and compliance piece of it. So statutory compliance is wherein we take care of different laws of the country and how it applies to our organization and what is it that we have to do as an organization. But when it comes to ethics and compliance, it has more to do with what are the anti-corruption policies of the company, gift and hospitality policy of the company, and how we take care of the internal investigations. So the area that a GC has to look after is pretty broad from that perspective, very diversified, and I think that's one reason why this makes it even more interesting for a GC to handle this kind of a work.
Of course, you belong to the media industry, You're a GC of a media company. So, media company, media industry, media laws in different countries that you operate in. So, how different are these, are the media laws?
So I would not say that there is law which is media law per se. The set of laws remain the same. I think it really depends on the industry you are working in, and basis the industry you are working in, the applicability of the set of laws that may apply to your industry varies. So just to tell you, I have worked in different industries so far. If you see my career journey, all through in my journey, I have worked through different industries. So I started my career in a agro science company, then came to a telecom consultancy, aerospace when talking about Honeywell, education when talking about Pearson, and now I'm in media industry. So I think it's very important for any lawyer to do their due diligence before joining a company that they need to work for and the industry associated with it, because that helps you understand the set of laws that may apply to that company. So what I always do when making a move or changing the industry I'm working in is that I familiarize myself with the set of laws that may apply to that industry. I do my due diligence, read about it, and then when I join the company, I try to understand the business of the company more in detail. I do a more in-depth study of how the industry operates, what kind of business models do we have, what are the kind of risk or challenges we may have faced in past, and that makes the basis of what kind of laws may apply to my day-to-day job and how I need to equip myself with those laws to make sure that I'm catering well to the industry I'm serving in.
Okay, so you scale up to your role, learning, and so how big is the team and how is the team functioning? How do you handle the whole team of legal team? Tell us about your team and how do you lead it as a leader?
So including
leadership
myself,
role.
we are a team of 13 professionals. That includes lawyers, company secretaries, and one of the team members I have on the team is a CA as well. So when it comes to the lawyers in the team, we have 3 business verticals within Dentsu. All of them are responsible for one business vertical each. And in addition to that business vertical, they're also responsible for something in addition. Like one of them is responsible for data privacy. The other one is responsible for markets beyond India. And the third one is responsible for the different functions. So if we have work coming in from finance, admin, HR, that is taken care of by the person who is responsible for the functional work. All 3 senior legal counsels are supported by legal counsels in their team who are supporting them. Then I have 2 company secretaries in the team who are helping me on the secretarial work. and one ethics and compliance director who is taking care of ethics and compliance aspect of it. So that's how the team is structured. It is pretty much divided between Gurgaon and Mumbai, where we have most of our operations. However, it really does not matter in today's time, and COVID has taught this to all of us that we can all operate remotely. So as and when there is a need, we travel, but then we are able to, provide support to our business from these two locations.
Okay, okay. So tell us, how now you're the leader of such a big team. So what are the leadership roles, and how you prepare yourself to be a good leader that your people will look up to you? What are the, yeah.
So I think, this is something I had honestly not thought about. It just came my way, and it was very natural in the way how it happened. Of course, there were interventions needed in terms of how I can further sharpen up my leadership journey. But it was more about have that faith in yourself, have that belief in yourself that you can do, you can find a solution to a problem, and you can lead. And as long as that is there, I don't think so that it's something you need to acquire artificially. But when it comes to the team, I'm very, very careful about the fact that my team is empowered, enabled in the way how they have to deliver based on their job responsibilities. And I think everything else comes into place naturally. Because if you look at my team, I don't see my team as a team. I see them as my second family, and that's the way how we bond with each other. So one for all for one, and we provide support to each other, and that's the way how we have been making sure that we provide the right support to the business. So when it comes to leadership skills, for me, it is more about how you empower people, how you make sure that they are, they are able to deliver and they are provided with the support they need. And then I think everything else just falls in place automatically. So I believe in making leaders, and that's how you become a leader.
So you said you believe in making leaders. So are you also grooming? Is it part of your job to groom? So what is the process of grooming? How do you make them?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to my team or the teams I have worked with in past, there have been some of them who are now leading the legal function of some organization. That in itself tells you how committed I am in making sure that I am the one who is helping my team members become leaders, in the upcoming time. So I enable them, providing them with constructive feedback, empower them to take decisions, and be the role model when it comes to ethical standards. And that's the way how I support them. And of course, we have a program wherein we call it personal development program. I personally focus on for every individual in the team, wherein they talk about what aspirations they have, say 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line. We identify the gaps, or so to say development areas, wherein they need to develop over time for them to be there. And we put together a plan how I can help them in being there by plugging in those development areas. Of course, it is something that an individual has to own by themselves. So it's not something that I can provide to them, but it is I would say equally my responsibility that I enable them have the right set of tools in place, right set of interventions, so that they are able to groom up to becoming a leader and being there where they want to be 3 years or 5 years down the line.
So, a lot of women are being GCs, across industry are GCs. So, what is the ratio of women, men, male, female in your team? And and you see in the industry, what do you think? I mean, it is really growing. Now, a lot of GCs are women.
Yeah. So I would not be able to comment on the industry, but when it comes to my team, it's a fair balance when it comes to female versus male ratio. We are very committed to have a diverse team in place as an organization, as a leader. So I make sure that when we are hiring candidates, that at least I am provided with an equal pool of candidates who are both males and females, and I categorically ask for it from my HR team, so that at least I'm evaluating both the genders when basically hiring someone in my team. And based on of course the talent and capability, the best person gets the opportunity. But I don't want it to be a limiting aspect in my case when I'm interviewing, if I am only provided with the resumes of male candidates. So I literally and I really want to have diverse people from diverse backgrounds in my team. This may mean male, female, people coming from different geographies. I'm sure you understand that in India we are quite widely distributed in the way how we are cultural, how our culture is. You move from one state to other and you see a different culture altogether. It also has to do with the diversity of having young members on the team and the old member on team. So I think it's not just about male or female for me. I like to have diverse perspectives in the way how we operate, and hence I'm always looking for diverse backgrounds of people I'm hiring in my team.
Okay, so there are no such challenges, for women in the law field as a GC in a bigger position like yours.
So no, I think
No.
it's all there in the mind. I will rather talk about a time when I was not a GC and I was working for an organization, and I had to go to a factory for checking their legal compliances in Saharanpur.
Okay.
And interestingly, I came to know that they don't have a ladies' toilet, right? So this was like, okay, they never had a female visiting the factory, and this was like first time in their entire setup that a female was visiting, and I was supposed to be there for a few days to look into their legal compliances. So I figured out a way how to handle that. But I think what I'm trying to say precisely is that it's about your will. If you are determined that this is what I want to do and you work towards it, you get there. So it's not about seeing it as a challenge, it's about finding a solution to how I can overcome this challenge to make sure that I am able to deliver the same way how a male colleague of mine is able to deliver. So no doubt there are challenges, but as long as you see them as challenges, they are challenges. If you are determined that I am going to find a solution for it and work towards it, of course you do. But I'm talking about something, maybe 12 or 13 years back. Times have changed, things are changing. I see women progressing in different parts of different spheres of profession. So I don't see it as a limiting factor anyhow from that perspective also. But I think for a female to be a leader, it's very important that they have the self-belief, and if that is there, nothing can stop you from growing and rising up the ladder.
So this is a good soundbite for Women's Day. We got okay. So Women's Day is around the corner.
I see.
Okay. So tell us about you were saying the laws that are relevant in the media industry. So if you could talk about it.
Yeah, I mean to say, of course, when I was talking about the different practice areas of law that we take care of, and I personally
you
take care
already
of
said.
as a GC, a lot of it is going to be duplication of that in when I cover what I handle in or what are the laws relevant for media industry. So I think when you look at the Contract Act, that is something that is relevant for any industry, irrespective.
generic,
When it comes to the arbitration law, civil law, criminal law, all those laws are very important. But when we talk about media industry specifically, what you say in media may, create or may cause certain sort of concerns that a company is maybe responsible for, and hence you have to look at legislations from that perspective. So you have to look at laws from the perspective of censorship, defamation, etc. When being in media industry, it starts to become really relevant. But at the same time, I think there are a lot of regulatory bodies like ASCI that come into play when it comes to media and entertainment industry where we are, and hence the guidelines coming from them also play, I would say, a significant role in the way how we do our job in a
I
media and
see.
entertainment industry.
So, many media houses, especially the news channels, they cross the line, of um, protecting someone's privacy, or and they get away with it. ASCII just forms a committee, or maybe just ask questions. And so, how do you perceive that? Why is that getting away so easy for the television media news industry?
So, of course, there are certain, I would say, immunities available to the media industry as long as they have a backing. By backing, I mean to say evidence for them to say that what they have been talking about in the media is right. However, at the same time, if they don't have the evidence for them to prove that what they stated in media was correct, then there could be actions taken against them. So they have to have, evidence for them to show if they made a statement in media that that statement was correct, and they have substantiating evidence to prove that. Of course, and then of course they have immunities in terms of confidentiality, and not always could they disclose, or they are obligated to disclose what is that evidence basis which they have flashed a particular news in the media, and hence that gives them that upper hand in making sure that if they are making a statement, as long as they are backed by evidence to it, no one can touch them. But of course, if it is a fake news, then companies or different individuals can take action against them.
The defamation against a news channel doesn't really work. They usually get away with it.
No, so it's all about how true the news is, that they are basically, that they are flashing on their channel. If it is true, or at least backed by evidence, be it some sort of evidence, then they can, but not otherwise.
But a lot of immunity is given to the media
Yes,
industry.
that's true.
That's true. Okay.
But ours is a very different kind of a
Of course, I
business.
understand.
Yeah.
Of course. Yours is an advertisement.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Okay. So let's come back to the legal tech and, legal operations. What are the legal tech services that you use to smoothen your work process? A lot of evolving new legal tech services are being provided. So which are the ones that you apply?
So we have a compliance tool in our organization that helps us stay sane, given that we have 26 legal entities in India. And then understanding based on the number of employees in a company and the locations that we have, it becomes such a humongous task if we have to keep a tap on it manually, what compliances would get triggered, what are the compliances that we have to undertake and abide by as an organization. However, this tool really helps us in, keeping the database at one place, that for different legal entities, for different locations, what are the different set of laws that may apply to our company, as well as under those laws itself, what kind of compliances do we need to undertake as a company. And since it is all an automated tool, an action owner who is supposed to take an action on that particular compliance gets a automated trigger a few days in advance and multiple times till the compliance is undertaken. So this way, given the kind of busy schedule we have, we are able to keep a check on that we are complying with all the legal requirements. The other tool we use in Dentsu is a contract management tool. So that's a tool that helps us take requests from the business teams, in an automatic fashion, wherein they are basically sending a request to the legal team member for them to provide support on the contracts. This helps us keep check on when was the request received and automate the process relating to review of the contract, approvals and sign off of the contracts, and then also helps us store the executed copy of the contract. So this way it basically helps us keep a check on our contract management system, and we don't have the need for us to work on it manually.
Okay. Can we talk of the? No, you said M&A is one of the. So do you use artificial intelligence in M&A to smoothen the process?
I would not say M&A, but M&E, which is media and entertainment.
Yeah.
We do. So we do. So when it comes to, I would say AI and technology, I think that's definitely something that enables a legal department or any other function of a company. It is all about how you're using it. So I believe, especially given the kind of role I play, that we can't be 100% dependent on technology or AI, but it definitely helps us lessen our work if we use it in the right way to our benefit. But human intervention is always needed to verify that the output we are getting from the AI or technology is right, customized to the kind of business we do, for us to, progress. Otherwise, these AI tools and technology have their own dependencies, and if we just 100% rely on them, it could lead to errors, or I would say misguidance to our business teams, which is where we don't want to go.
Cybersecurity risks for you?
I would say are there for every organization, but not as much as it may be for, say, an IT company.
Talking of internal investigation, if there is a whistleblower, how does a GC, um, make a strategy for it? How, you have to deal with a lot of regulatory bodies regarding any financial crime also. So how does a GC?
So, as far internal investigations are concerned, that of course is an important aspect of what GCs do. When it comes to Dentsu, or I would rather talk about my experience generally. In investigations, we always start by making an investigation plan on how we plan to investigate the matter. We use different resources for us to investigate the matter, and then when the investigation is closed, the recommendation, in terms of the action that, or the discipline as well as remedial measures that we have to take out of the investigation's outcome, is shared with the disciplinary committee. I'm a member of the disciplinary committee for Dentsu India and South Asia. So when that recommendation comes, we evaluate it from an employment law perspective to make sure that if there is a disciplinary action that we had to take, it is something we are able to do in line with the employment laws. And when it is agreed by the disciplinary committee that we are good for us to take that action, and conclusion of the investigation is good for us to implement the process gaps that were identified during the course of investigation, that's when we close the investigation and implement those actions in the company.
Okay, coming back to the legal tech, whatever we said off the camera, could you talk about the companies of legal tech software and the tools that Dentsu is making?
Yeah, so when it comes to the contract management, we have an in-house tool that we are using for our contract management processes. But as we speak, there is another tool being evaluated at a global level to see if that's something we can use in Dentsu globally. For the compliance management, we use the tool from EY, wherein I was talking about how it is automated in a way such that it helps us not remember, what kind of compliances we have to undertake, but we get to know about it in an automated way.
Okay. Can you talk on the DPDP bill?
Yeah, so I think I'm not a big fan of bills, to be very honest, because I have experienced this multiple times that as and when there is a bill, people start jump on it. There are conferences and people start reading it, but you are never sure if that bill is ever gonna become a law or in this form. So I'm more curious about having like a very broader overview of it, but have an in-depth knowledge of the bill when it becomes act. So I'm like relying on acts more than bills from that perspective.
So what acts are you looking at presently? Anything that you
So
can talk about?
I would say different set of acts or laws that applies to Dentsu. So as I
Like,
mentioned before, like contract
yes,
law,
contract laws and
civil
everything.
law,
Okay, yes, yes.
arbitration law. There are a lot of laws that applies to us as a company.
Can you talk of the, competition commission, CCI's role, becoming very for the fair trade,
Yes.
they get
So
gaining more teeth
yeah.
now.
So I think it definitely comes into play when we talk about business leaders attending meeting with trade associations, wherein one has to be conscious of what conversations are we having, because we should not be talking about bid rigging, allocation of geographies, markets, price fixation, because that's where the Competition Act triggers off. Also, it's very, very important to understand it from the perspective of when you're combining two products together. So that's something I saw in one of the companies I worked for before, wherein we were intending on combining two products for us to sell in the market. And there was a question from the business team, can we do so? And the moment I realized that one of the product is like a highly selling product while the other one is a product which is not getting sold in the market, we, I mean to say, evaluated that from a competition law perspective to see what kind of a combination could be used, and if at all that could be used, and how it may have an impact on the business.
Okay. Okay, can I make it a general question? Like advertisement industry, they do a lot of pitches for a particular client, and then what if one rigs it and to get that client, it's a huge, big ticket client. So, how does it scenario and it's caught, and how does it scenario work for a GC? How does it come to the GC? How does it how is
Yeah.
it handled,
Yeah.
basically?
So a lot of what we may be presented in the pitch is confidential information.
Yes.
So having an NDA in place even before going for a pitch is something that's where the legal team or the role of the legal team comes into play. But other aspect of it could be that, especially looking at it from a media and advertising industry perspective, that in pitches you are sharing your ideas, and you may win the pitch or you may not win the pitch, but if you don't win the pitch, your idea should be secure, and it's not something that should be copied and used by other agencies, and hence to make sure we ensure that there is an NDA in place before our business teams goes and makes the pitches to different clients.
Education background, where did you get in? Why did you want to become a lawyer?
Yeah, so yeah, this is interesting that I never thought that I'm gonna be a lawyer, so I call myself like an accidental lawyer.
Okay.
Because I was a non-medical student, and I was supposed to do engineering, if I have to put it this way, because in my days, and I don't know how true it is these days, you would do what your parents have chosen for you. So my parents wanted me to be an engineer, and I got selected also in aeronautical engineering. Okay. However, coming from a very small town, we could not find a hostel for me to live in, and there was only one option available for me to do at that time, because all the entrances had happened by then, and that was like a BSc Computer Science. And I was getting admission in BSc Computer Science in a very prestigious college. However, I was like, I will do anything, but I will not do BSc Computer Science. And the question is why? Because I have two elder sisters who did BSc Computer Science. Okay. And I was like, I will do anything, but I will not do BSc Computer Science. And that's when it was like, okay, so what else can you do? Because all the entrances are over, and I had this conversation with my father wherein he was like, we can't waste 1 year time and wait for another year for you to go through the entrance exams. Interestingly, it did so happen such that at that point of time, the result of an entrance test, which was like a 5 year law course in Maharishi Dayanand University, Rohtak, came in, and I had sat in the entrance for it. It was a form that was sent to my father by one of my father's friends because he wanted his daughter to do the law degree and she was questioning who else does law. So just to make her feel like, there are a lot of people who are aspiring for law, that form was sent and I appeared in the exam. When I went for the entrance exam, I had no clue what kind of questions to expect. And as and when I was having this conversation with my father that I'm not going to do BSc Computer Science, the result of this law entrance came in and I got the 8th rank and I was like, okay, I will do law. And my father is still a practicing lawyer, but he was against any of his children doing law degree. We are four brother sisters, and I was like, no, I have decided that I have to do law. So there was some reluctance in the beginning, but then he agreed that if this is what you want to do, then that is what it is for you. So ultimately, I ended up becoming a lawyer, and I rather feel great that I took this decision. So it was Law College of Maharishi Dyanand University, Rohtak, from where I graduated. But then after that, I have also had my master's degree in law from Kurukshetra University while working. I have done a diploma course in cyber laws from Indian Law Institute, and I have also done a Master of Business Law program from National Law University, Bangalore. So I like to keep reading stuff and keep upscaling myself, and I think education plays an important role in that.